Welcome to the Five and Dime on Where There's a Wills.
There's a play.
My name's Ian.
I'm Stacey.
And I am your casual mid-complexity gamer.
And I am your gamer, non-gamer.
And this is our Five and Dime for the month of May 2024. In this countdown, we will be giving you our top 10 and
top 5
games that we played. So this is 2 lists, 1 category. First, I'll be giving you some of my honorable mentions as I play a lot of games on the table solo as well, and also a lot on BGA. So let's take a look at that list. On the table, I got Catan Jr. to the table at my board game club, Isle of Cats at the very end of the month, Power Plants at the beginning of the month, which was a new game to me, Sushi Go Party at my board game club, and Trailblazers. I also learned this month on BGA, Cartographers, Draftosaurus, which I've been really enjoying playing, Faraway, which is a really thinky game where you lay cards down in one way, but you score them the opposite way, and you have to make sure you have certain things there available in order to score them. Framework, Mlem Space Agency, which I learned at the very end of the month, Planet Unknown, and Trailblazers. One of the ones on this list that is a little surprising that did not make my top 10 is Isle of Cats, which is currently one of my top 10 favorite games, solo games of all time. But I got it to the table really, really late in the month and did not have a very good experience. So I was like, I couldn't justifiably go on past experiences. So let's see what our top 10 is. My number 10 is a game that appeared on both of our lists last month as well. And it is a push your luck game. And that game is Can't Stop. Can't Stop is a really fun, really quick push your luck game where you are using white runners to go up the track. And I like this because this has the stop sign. The one on the version on BGA, I think, is an updated version. It is a mountaintop, like you're climbing. I think this stop sign is much better. What you do is you roll 4 dice, you put them in pairs, and you run on 2 numbers. And then each round, you can run on 3 different numbers. And whenever you want to stop, you stop and you move your colored piece up the board. The first person to get 3 numbers on the top will be the one that wins. You'll notice that the numbers that are easier to get, like 6, 7, and 8, there's a lot more of them because they're much easier to get. The numbers that are very hard to get, 2 and 12, there's only a couple of them that you have to get, but that's because you need only 2 1s or 2 6s. And I'm sure Stacey will tell you a story about her game this month that was probably one of the best games we've ever had of Can't Stop. So that was my number 10. Can't Stop. Do you have anything to add for that now?
No.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Number 9 on my list is one that we got to the table at the very end of last year for the A to Z challenge. It's a tile laying game. It's a lot of fun. It is one that we both really enjoy. And number 9 is Zen Garden. It's not one that we hear a whole lot about. In fact, when we were researching, I think you actually found this one. I was looking for a couple letters. I needed a couple of those really hard letters. And this one just looked very calm and looked right up our alley. So in Zen Garden, you have a central board of tiles that you are drafting from. And when you not drafting, that you're picking from, taking turns picking. And when you do so, if you take from the bottom row, it doesn't cost you anything. If you take from the second row, it costs you 1 coin. The third row costs you 2 coins. And depending on how many of the roofs you have on top of the board is what you're scoring. In the very basic, there's 4 different scoring criteria. There's one where basically you get 2 points, I think it is, for everything you have. That's, I think, called the Emperor's Majority or King's Majority or whatever it is. And then there's the Minority where he also wants these, but it's only 1 point. And then it's whoever has the most of one thing. And then whoever, and then the third one on there, on the actual frame is if you have a certain number of something, you have either negative points, 0 points, or positive points. So if you start putting them on there, you need to make sure you have enough of them to get positive points. There's a couple different things you're looking at. You're looking at different items in the corners. You're looking at the type of road you're making, and you're looking at the floor. And these scoring things change. So there's little token things you put on there, and it depends on which ones you put on there is what you're scoring each time. Then when you put the next roof on, it changes again. So on the very basic level, the floors, it does not matter if they match. When you go to the next level, it's called the unity level, and you want all of your floors to match because you want them to be connected. If they're not, then you won't score any points. If you have exactly one group of all of your floor types, whichever ones you have, you get 10 points, I believe it was. But if there's even one stray that isn't connected to its own type, it does not give you, it gives you 0 points. And then every level, it adds a little bit more to this game. One cool thing about this is if you want to lay another tile and you don't have a spot to lay it, you can actually move your whole grid on your player mat, which you can barely see in the corners of the picture here. But you can move them all horizontally or vertically, but you have to move them all as a big clump. So that is Zen Garden.
So one thing I would like to add on this is the board in the middle that you're seeing is the selection board. So that's where you're going to be taking your pieces off to put on your own personal board. So each round that you're playing, you take the bottom row off and then you slide the other two top rows down and then you put on new tiles. So you know that you're getting fresh new tiles and that you'll be able to hopefully complete some of your boards using the free row, the 1 or the 2 cost tile. So that is one thing that I do like about that game.
Yeah, and with that, depending on which tiles you take, so in a 2-player game, you go back and forth. Each person's going to get 2 tiles every round. So the game goes pretty quick. Your player board only has 16 spots. So it goes really quick when you're taking 2 tiles each round. Depending on where you take tiles from, depends on how many new ones will come off. Because if you take everything from the bottom row, it's just all going to drop down. You're only going to get 4 new tiles. But when you start taking stuff from the first or the second and third row, then you've got empty spaces there. Plus everything that's left in the bottom row still comes off. So if you take 8 tiles or if you take 4 tiles from, let's say we were each to take 2 tiles from the middle row, you're going to have 8 new tiles the next time. You can also kind of plan ahead on that because you can go, I really want that thing that's in that third row. I know that I'm going to go first next round, or I know Stacey doesn't want that tile, even if I'm not going first. So you can go, I'm just going to take something else that I know I can use so I can get it cheaper the next round. So that is Zen Garden. Our next is my number 8 is one that I don't think it appeared on my list last month. Number 8 for me is Honey Buzz. Honey Buzz is another tile laying game. And in Honey Buzz, I've only played this solo so far. In Honey Buzz, you are putting beeples out in order to bee meeples, in order to get your honeycomb made. And depending on what you do, every time you create a hex that is open in the middle, you get to activate all of the powers on the double hex tiles that are around it, that are directly around it. So if you have a double hex tile that is outside of that one, that is away from it, you don't get to activate that. So what you're doing is you're foraging for pollen. No, you're foraging for nectar. You're making honey. You are fulfilling orders. Maybe you're going to market and selling your stuff to earn some more coins. Just a really nice, calm, lightweight game. It is one that I'm hoping to get Stacey to try at some point here. I do think it is probably right at the cusp of her complexity level, but I do believe it is one that she will like. So that is my number 8, Honey Buzz. On to my number 7. And my number 7 game is a game that did not appear on the list last month. We didn't play last month, but we did get it to the table for the first time in quite a while. It is one of our favorite games I believe it is still my most played game, definitely Stacey's most played game, and that is Quirkle. Lots of tile laying games. So Quirkle, kind of an interesting story with this one is this is not one that we discovered. This is one that my parents introduced to us and my brother introduced to them. So this is a really nice one because when we get together, which we will be doing this summer on a family vacation, we will all be able to play it. So we're the gamers in the family. Like they don't play games much, but the fact that they introduced us to this is kind of, it holds a special spot in our heart. And is definitely one of our most played games. So in Quirkle, you're laying tiles that are 6 different colors or 6 different shapes. And you score points. You need to match them up. So you can see in this game, we've matched up colors or shapes, and you score points based on how many items are around it. So if you match up, if you put a 4th thing in a row, you get 4 points. If it's also connected to something else, you get more points. If you've not played this, but you've played Azul, it is very similar to when you start placing your tiles onto your mat in the way it scores. It's however many things you have connected to that piece or those pieces you lay down is what you get. With Quirkle, though, when you complete a Quirkle, which is 6 of anything in a row, either color or shape, it actually scores you 12 points. You get 6 points for the color or shape, and you get the bonus 6 points. You can string together some really big scores here sometimes because if you Quirkle plus you push some other stuffs, above or below it, to the side of it, you can add points to your Quirkle.
Double Quirkle is the best.
We have gotten double Quirkles. When we play, which I know is completely opposite of when my parents and brother play, so it's going to be really weird playing with them this summer. When we play, we try not to block the Quirkles because we want to just see how high we can score. I know that they are very much all about blocking the Quirkles, so it'll be interesting to see what our scores are this summer.
Yeah. I'm a nice player.
Yes. We don't, although it is a strategy because you also don't want the other person to get the points. So it makes sense in this. So that was my number 7. On to my number 6. And my number 6 is a game that came to us late last year. And I also got it from my board game club. And that is Diced Veggies. And Diced Veggies is just a really fun, light game where you are making your dice are different vegetables. Each dice is a different vegetable. Each dice color is a different vegetable. You put them in this square little box to start the game. And then you make what they call a brick. And then you use the little cleaver at the bottom of the picture to cut away dice in order to make your recipes. Your recipes all need a certain number of colored dice, depending on what they are, and you need to get those dice. The trick is you can only take up to 10 pips. So sometimes you might only be able to take 1 dice or 2 dice. If you get really lucky, sometimes you can get 3 or 4. So you got to really kind of plan, like, which dice do I want? Which dice, do I need to get? And then on top of that, you have what are called hype cards. And hype cards add just a little more complexity to the game. And with the hype card, it will give you some extra criteria you might want to do. And then it allows you to score extra points. Just a really fun, quick, light one. Very quick to play. Doesn't take a long time. Easy setup, easy takedown. You put the dice inside the little box. You deal each other a couple cards. The game ends when one person has 6 recipes. Well, the end triggers when one person has 6 recipes. Everybody finishes that. And then at the very, very end, you get to, if you have dice left. So if you can plan it, and I don't know if I've ever been able to do this. If you plan it right, you might have some dice left over. And then if you have any recipes left that you can use, you can actually cook another recipe. You can cook more than one recipe at a time, I believe. I believe you can cook more than one on a round.
Yes, because some of the cards say this must be your second recipe you cook.
That's right. Round. That's right. Yep. Some of the hypes, you can do a second one. So that is my number 6. That is Diced Veggies. now we will get into the top 5. So Stacey's going to start giving you her top 5.
Okay, so my top 5 has already been talked about, so I'll keep it short and sweet. My number 5 was Can't Stop. I also had this on my list for last month as well. I can't remember what number it was though. But for a non-gamer person, this is easy to control for the most part. You roll your dice, you have your 3 little white bricks, you decide how you want to format your dice, and then you just move and you keep rolling until you think that you shouldn't stop. Once you roll and you don't have the numbers to roll on your colored dice that you have, then you bust and you have to take all of your colored dice off and start over. So you can either keep rolling or you can stop. Me, I usually roll maybe 2 or 3 times, and then I'm a weenie and I say stop. And it's worked for me most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't work. Now, what Ian was talking about earlier was
yes. Would you like to share your big double you pulled?
I had the 2 and the 12, which are the 2 hardest numbers to get. I was working on 2 and 12 pretty much the entire game, and then I think I had a 9 or something. I don't remember the other one. But I had already put my first row. I had already completed my first row, and then I had 1 row each, 1 box left each on the 2 and the 12. Shook my dice, and I got 2 6s and 2 1s. And I was like, yeah, so I got to move up. And then I got to shake them again. I got 2 6s and 2 1s. And I won the game. Now, that doesn't happen every time. I haven't had it happen since. So I think that good luck was just my lady. That
I think you were 1 spot away already.
Oh, was that 1 spot?
Yeah,
whatever it was, I won.
She had one of the columns done, and she was 1 spot away on the 2 and 12. 2 harder things. She does her first roll, 2 1s, 2 6s, and I went, are you kidding me? Because I was 1 spot away on something from winning as well. Obviously, it was not this game that's being shown on the screen. Looks like she won that one as well. Yeah, like I said, I've talked about it already. She just talked about. It's just a really fun, quick game. It's one that I also play on BGA, and my board game club kids love it. So it's a really fun. That's Can't Stop.
It does look like I won, doesn't it?
And it does, yes.
I'm always pink. So.
And I'm always blue. All right. So back to me and my number 5. And my number 5 for the month is more dice. Lots of dice and lots of tiles I'm noticing this month. And that is Role Player. Role Player comes to us from Thunderworks Games in the world of Ulos. Role Player is a game where you are basically making a Dungeons and Dragons type character. You are rolling dice of different colors, and you are placing them and determining what order you want to, what dice you want, but also what order you want to be able to choose cards from the market in order to improve your character. Placing the dice in one of 6 attributes. Each attribute gives you a little different power when you place one in there. If you place gold dice, it gives you extra coins. When you complete an attribute row, it gives you extra coins. You can get traits, you can get abilities, you can get weapons, you can get armor. You're also looking on your alignment, and you're moving around on your alignment card. You're looking to score a certain number of points in each one of your attributes to score your, it's not your class card. The class card, you have to have certain colors in certain spots. I'm blanking on what this card is on the top right of your player board. But lots of different things you're thinking about as you're placing your dice. You can't just place them on there because you're thinking about, well, what color do I want in what spot? What extra little ability do I want to be able to use to manipulate my dice or move dice around? Where do I need stuff to be? Oh, which piece of armor or what card do I want to get? Because if I don't take it, I play this solo. If I don't take it, then I roll a dice and the AI will take away, or I'll eliminate the cards, and I may eliminate a card I really want, but I may not want that dice because it's not going to help me out. So there is a lot of, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want the card more? Or do I want the dice more? Just a really fun game. Really enjoy that. And that is Role Player at number 5.
So my number 4 is one that has already been discussed already today. My number 4 is diced veggies. I really do like this game for a gamer, non-gamer gamer. There's not a whole lot to keep count of. You have your recipe cards. You've got your little dice that represent the vegetables that you're trying to do. The one thing that I'm not very good at is having my cards in front of me, noticing what's up at the top, what dice I have, and then saying, "Oh, the cards I have aren't working." So, but the one that's up there is worth more points, and I have the dice for it. So I'm going to discard this card and buy the card that's up there. I have a really hard time keeping track of that for some reason. So I get my cards in front of me and I just get set on those 2 cards. And I feel like I have to make those 2 recipes, which you don't have to. You can discard one on your turn and draw a new card. So that's my downfall on that game. But it is a fun game. Don't play it after 7 o'clock because my math skills, you can only have 10 pips, aka dots, for those non-gamers trying to watch this. Dots on the dice is what I call them. So it is fun. I do enjoy it. For some reason, I cannot use the cleaver to chop the dice because you use the little cleaver to get your dice out of there. I don't know why I have a hard time with that. It's probably my bifocals.
It's a little thick sometimes.
Yeah, it's a little thick to get in there. But other than that, it's a fun game. I recommend it for any age group who can count to 10 or add, up to 10. Good family game, I think, as well.
Yeah. So one of the things we forgot to mention was when you cut. So there's 3 phases to each round. Cut is where you take dice. Then cook is if you can cook a recipe, you can cook it, and then card. So you either take another recipe or another hype. You can have at most 2 uncooked recipes, 2 hypes, and 8 dice in your hand at the end of your turn. So if you take another card, you can discard one. So you're like, this card is not working for me. This recipe card is not working for me. I want that one. You can take that and just discard one. One of the things we forgot to say when you're cutting is you have to go straight down with the cleaver and pull away. So when you take the dice, you can't like go into the middle and be like, oh, I'm going to take these 2 here and have 2 on the side. You have to go from the end. You have to go straight down. You can't go at an angle and pull random dice out. They have to be ones that are like easily accessible to you. You can't go at the angle. It has to go straight down.
And you can't leave a stray dice hanging out somewhere. So that is my number 4.
All right. Fun game. Great game. Kids at Board Game Club love it as well. Great for all ages. My number 4 is one that has actually moved up my list this month. And this is a game that this is a game that I taught Stacey this month. And that is Beacon Patrol. Up until this month, this has been exclusively a solo game for me. And it is a fine solo game. But I will tell you that I actually enjoy this game more at 2 players. And I think even at 3 and 4, it would even be more fun. It's going to be one I look into for my board game club. I think the kids would really enjoy this. And what you do is you all start on one spot and you are moving around the ocean trying to close in these tiles. And when you move, you place a tile down and it has to match what you, it has to match
the land and the water.
The land and the water need to match up with each other, like a lot of tile laying games, similar to Carcassonne. If you've played Carcassonne, they need to match each other. But the boats can only move by water. So when you place the tile down, you have to move your boat onto it. So you have to place it so that it has water to move onto. If you ever trap yourself, you have 3 propellers in a 2-player game where you can make an extra move somewhere else. And then you flip it over at the end of your turn, you get to use them again, which I really like. At the end of turn, you flip them back out. So you get 3 extra movements every single turn in your game. And I really like it at solo, but with solo, you are working only really in one area. You do get 4 movements, but you got to move yourself around. So when you move, you can move. If you have 3 tiles that you can't really use, you can move to a spot that you want to get to. In solo, it's really hard to do that. In 2 players, this game really started to shine for me. And I think this is going to move up my tile laying list quite a bit now, because of the fact that you can work in multiple places. The other big thing with this is you can trade. So if Stacey has a tile that I want, or we have a tile that's not going to work, we can trade that back and forth for another tile, and then I get new tiles. So you have 3 tiles each round, and yeah, it's just a really fun game. And like I said, even I really enjoyed solo, but I like this one a lot more with 2-player, and I think with 3 and 4 it would even be better.
Agreed. Maybe. I don't
Maybe.
know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, that was my number 4.
And
Beacon Patrol.
Oh, Beacon Patrol sounds familiar.
Number 3.
Number 3 for me is the one we've just talked about is Beacon Patrol. Ian didn't think I would like this game at first, and I really do enjoy it. For me, it's not complicated at all. Basically, you have to find a tile that matches a tile that you're near and try and enclose the lighthouses and the buoys. And then you can add on docks as the expansion. And then at the end of the game, you count up how many buoys, you get points for that. How many lighthouses you have, you get points for that. You can move your 3 spaces. Then if you need to move out just so you don't get trapped, you can, like Ian said, you can use your propeller to get out of the area. And then you draw your next group of tiles of what you use. And then you score everything. It's pretty easy. Again, this one I think would be a really good family game for younger kids who are learning tile games possibly, or even for adults who are learning tile games. Just a fun game, very lightweight, I would say. If I enjoy it, I think that any gamer, non-gamer would enjoy it as well.
I think one of the reasons I wasn't sure, and it wasn't that I didn't think she would like it, it was just it's got some similarities to Carcassonne, and I know that Carcassonne is a game she didn't really care for. I think it's because this doesn't have the meeples and you're just moving around. So you're just moving around and placing the tiles. Yeah, so like she said, there's buoys, there's lighthouses, there's piers and windmills, which come as a mini expansion in this. There's a new expansion coming out this summer, which I'm really excited about because it gives you asymmetric boat powers, including when we were looking into it, there's a hover boat that allows you to actually go over the land. So each boat can do something a little different. I think that's going to add to the replayability of this game with just being able to do different things. So her number 3, my number 4 this month, Beacon Patrol.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's a really fun game. It is a great game. Like I said, really good at 2 players. Every time I get it out, I would probably ask her if she wants to play now. I'll probably still play solo sometimes, but that's one that definitely with an extra player, with more players, because in solo you have 3 tiles still. You can keep one for the next round, but that means you're only playing 2. In 2-player, because you can exchange them, I'm going to play 3 every single time. And if we can't, we'll discard it, but that's okay. Very rarely happen. Being able to work in multiple locations really helps you close things in a lot more with more people. Moving on to my number 3, another one that I believe appeared on our lists last month. It was new to us last month. So number 3 for me is Summer Camp. Summer Camp was, and that says number 4. That should say number 3 for me. There it says number 3. So Summer Camp is a introductory level
card builder game.
Card building game. My brain is just done right now. End of the school year. Nobody. There's no such thing as tired as end of school year teacher tired, as people say. So is a deck building game. So you have your meeple and you're moving across your paths, and each path is a different camp theme. Last month when we learned it, we just played with the 3 basic ones, which were cooking, outdoors,
water
sports. This month we're like, we want to get it back to the table and we want to get some of the other ones in. Oh my God, they are so good. Like with this game, each one of the things that you're putting in here, each one of the new decks you're putting in is themed so well.
Mhm.
Like
Extremely.
and like what you do is themed well. So it's not like each deck is the same. You do have your basic 1 move, 2 move, 3 moves, but then all the specialty cards really fit well with what the theme is. Like for the friendship one, when you do something, your friend gets something as well. So it's doing friendship. The adventure one really was, you know, it was a little more risk taking with some things. The games one, I think it was called. You were playing games like tag. So like if you caught up to someone, you got something. Great game. This one I see moving up our lists quite a bit and getting out to the table quite a bit. You like this one too, which I wasn't
really
sure
like
on
this
because it
game.
was something you had not played.
I had never played a deck building
building.
game, not a card building game. I had never played a deck building game before. So I didn't even really know what that was. But the first time I played it, my hand was so big, it took me forever to get through all of my cards. And then when we played it last time, I finally figured out that the smaller you keep your deck, the faster you can go through your cards and get those good cards that move you 3 spots. Or move you up to a specialty spot to help you move another person or draw another card out of your deck. So those kinds of things, the specialty cards and this board, the way that you can place the board is very great too.
So we might as well just move on.
My
number two is
summer camp.
Might as well keep it going. So, you know, we're just moving right through them.
I love this
Okay,
game.
keep going.
Yeah, so again, so the path that you take, you get your 3 meeples, one on each game or on each I don't even know what you call it.
Trail. I think they call them trails.
That you take. So those you can all shuffle. And along the trail you can earn energy, you can move another meeple, or you can get some energy which helps you take specialty cards or build up your specialty cards to help you move along later in the game.
Yeah, you need energy to buy the cards, and they have different cost values. You can burn cards in a round to use as energy. Some cards give you extra energy, and then the snack bar tokens give you more energy.
You need lots of energy at summer camp.
Yep.
It's hard being a kiddo at summer camp. But I like the replayability of this. This was on my list. I think it was number 2 or number 1 on my list last month even. So it's hanging out there.
I think it was number 1.
I think so. So it's still hanging in my top 5. The other thing that I do like about this is that each theme, like Ian was saying, is so well planned. The friendship one, the bad thing about the friendship one, though, is that there is a card that says when you play this card, you get to move, I don't know, like 1 spot, but your friend has to discard a card because apparently they became a friend of me during summer camp.
Was that friendship or was that, there was another one?
I thought that was friendship.
No, I think that was adventure or games. Adventure or games was the one where, I think it was games, because games, you were kind of playing games with each other. And when you did stuff, it kind of either helped you more or it was one of them. I don't think it was friendship though. There was one.
But anyway, it was one of the new ones that we played. But there's 6 different categories, and you can play them in
7.
any or 7.
There's 7.
Ooh,
There's 7 plus the base
and
ones.
you can play them in any. You can play any 7 of them 3 at a time. So every single time you play, you can have a different category with a different trail. And it's just fun. It's whoever reaches the end first with all 3 of your meeples wins the game. And then the other person gets another turn to finish up, and you're done. I think I won last time. I'm not sure.
No, I think so, probably.
I'm not sure.
We usually kind of go back and forth.
I did because I had that awesome comeback.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like on the 3rd set of. So as you pass each bridge, the first person to get all 3 of their meeples across the first bridge gets a participation, the highest participation ribbon. The first person with all across the second bridge gets the highest all-star ribbon. And then depending on what order you get to the end, you get the highest ribbons, badges in each one of the activities you're doing. And I was across all the bridges first. I was across the first set of bridges first. I was across the second set. I was very close to the end on all these, and she strung together she's had a couple big comebacks here this month. She strung together some really big cards, movements, and I went, wait, what just happened? And I think I ended up getting completely shut out of any ribbons because I was not at the end of anything because
Yeah.
I went first. So I didn't get the extra turn. So I don't think I got any of the badges. Which in the 2-player games, that seems to be kind of how it goes for us most times. I think the one before that, we actually were a little bit closer. We each got some of these, but it seems like one person always seems to get like all of the first place badges, and then someone maybe gets 1 or 2, or you get none of them.
Yeah.
And even not even 2, like it really does seem like someone gets all 3 first base badges, and then someone barely even gets a second place badge. And so the scores have been pretty widespread. Like the winner is usually way ahead. I do think the game before that it was much closer.
I think so.
I think we actually took 5 of the 6 end game badges, and then you were really close at the end. But you went first, so you didn't get an extra turn. So yeah, this one is very quickly moving up our lists. Deck building, something we don't really have in our collection for 2-player, and it's so quick. And like Stacey said, the variability. I think we looked it up. It's a 9 factorial for the different ways you can lay out the tiles alone, and it was like over 100,000 or something. It was or 10,000, 20. It was something ridiculous. I'm like, well, that right there, even if you planned on, like, you're never going to get through even laying out the paths all the different ways. And then when you factor in, there's 7 different activities that could be on each one of the paths. I mean, it's just the replayability, and you're never going to play the same game twice. And then with the cards coming out differently, just a really fun, quick, like I said, you place the lake board up top, you place the 9 tiles, you choose which 3 activities you're doing, you shuffle the decks, and that's it. So there you go.
That was my number 2, summer camp.
All right.
I miss summer camp.
I never went to summer camp. My number 2 is so we've had lots of dice and lots of tiles. Well, now I'm going back to back with a game that has a deck building aspect. While summer camp is a bigger deck builder, this one does have your deck building aspect, and this is Lords Lost Ruins of Arnak. Last month when we were doing our list, this was actually set up on the table, and I teased, oh yeah, that's the next deck builder I'm going to teach her. So in Lost Ruins of Arnak, you have this really tall board with some different things going on. You're gaining different resources here, coins, gems, tablets, 2 different types of gems, compasses. You're doing worker placements where you have to use some of your cards in order to place your workers. You're gaining things. You're also moving up this research track on the right side of the board. You're gaining assistance. You're gaining your cards from up top, depending on what type of card they are. Really fun game. I played this, I think 3 times last month. This one is one that I learned in January, and I really do like this one. It just takes a bit to set up for just solo play. I've played a little bit on BGA. I will probably start playing a little bit more on BGA as I now got it to the table again. When I played it on BGA the first time, it was about a month and a half after I'd played it for the first time. And so I couldn't really remember everything. Now that I've played it more, it's more in my brain. So this is one that I think I will get played on BGA a little more. But it's a fun solo game. I'm going to look into, they have one expansion which turns it into a solo or cooperative campaign. And I think this is one that I would really like to do something like a campaign, even solo. So that's Lost Ruins of Arnak. Yeah, she looked at the board as we were doing our last one last month and was like, yeah, no, that's not going to be a game for me. All right. On to our number 1s.
My number 1 has already once again been talked about, and it's the big boys game of dominoes, and it's Quirkle. Basically, it's like dominoes, but instead of numbers, you're matching colors and shapes. This is the game that I have played most, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think we're up to 60 plays of this since it was introduced to us.
It. And it's just a nice, relaxing. We go take this out on the back porch and play it out in the spring and summertime and early fall before it gets too cold. And just play it out on the back porch. I think Ian said everything that there was to say about it for the most part, except when you play, and you have to kind of mess it up to just lay down what you can because you need new tiles. It's called a Stacey. So Ian will say, "Oh, here we go. I'm going to pull a Stacey," and that's usually how I get points, is by putting down 2 tiles next to each other to screw up a Quirkle or something. So, in your future endeavors, when you're playing Quirkle, please, in my honor, say I'm playing a Stacey, and I will feel very good about that.
Basically, what that is when you start, when we just call it pulling a Stacey, is when you start putting the same colors or the same shapes below. So it's really kind of like, it really limits what you can place other places. It's just all in fun and jest, but you're like, oh boy, pulling a Stacey. I'll even say, yep, gonna pull a Stacey, gotta pull a Stacey, or I can't put any cards down or dials down. Yeah, this one definitely our most played. Before our game collection really exploded, I mean, we were playing this the one year we played this so many times, before I even started doing stuff on BG Stats. And then thankfully I was writing it all down in a notebook, so I was able to go back and put it all in there. So we actually have all of our plays. I think we're up to like 60 plays of this. It is definitely both of our highest played so far. I've got a couple solo games or solo multiplayer games, Cartographers and Rolling Realms, that I believe are getting close. But we hadn't played this one for a while, so we definitely need to get this to the table more. And like I said, somebody in my family will be bringing this to our family vacation this summer, and I'm sure we will be playing it quite a bit. That's your number one, Quirkle. My number one, I believe for the second month in a row, is Rolling Realms. And when I really got down to it, I was like, is this really my number one again? And I'm like, yeah, because sometimes I just like a very quick game, but it still makes you think. So with Rolling Realms, you are rolling 2 dice through 9 rounds, and you're placing dice into different realms that are based on different games. The original base Rolling Realms had the 11 Stonemaier games at the time. Stonemaier comes out with promo realms for all of their games. And then last year, they started coming out with promo realms for games that they do not make. So you can see in the picture, it has Terraforming Mars and Hokkaido, which are not Stonemaier games. And then Euphoria is one of their games that was in the base game. You can also earn pumpkins, which allow you to manipulate the dice. You can earn hearts, which allow you to copy dice, and you can earn coins, which allow you to make new dice. And another one for replayability, because there are so many realms, the likelihood of you doing the same 3 realms is very minimal, but the likelihood of you also then doing the same 9 realms is even more minimal, because it's not just 9 things that you're placing. I don't even know what they're up to now. And someone's knocking, and my dog is freaking out. I don't know. Okay.
I'll be back.
Anyway, Rolling Realms is, like I said, very replayable. I'm doing a series of videos, which I will link as well, where I'm doing individual playthroughs of each realm as tutorials. I also started this month a comparison where I'm kind of comparing and doing a tiered ranking, not a rating or anything, a tiered ranking of some games, the realm to the actual game, and seeing where they tier. So that is my number one for the second month in a row. I don't think it'll always end up, but when I looked at it, I have to look at it as, what game do I want to get out and play? And I do want to get this out and play. Lost Ruins of Arnak, unless I get it out and set it up and keep it out, it's not going to get played a whole lot, even though I really do like it. Summer Camp, like I said, is moving up. Beacon Patrol. But there was my number one for the month of May. Anything you want to add to any of yours before we sign off?
I think all of my top 5s are good family games. I think if you want to try and engage your loved one or your family member, whoever, who doesn't really enjoy games, I think any of these games are easy to teach, easy to learn, and I think that they would really enjoy them. So this could be a good time to, sit down with whoever it is that keeps complaining that you game too much, and just try and teach them some of these games to try and, you know, get them into your world a little bit.
And as you saw, all 5 of hers were on my top 10, I do believe. I think all 5 of them were on my top 10. They were. So even as someone who does game a lot more and does like the more not super complex, like I said, my cap is probably about that 3 complexity level on BGG's weight system, even if that isn't the greatest system to do things. It is kind of where my comfort level is, and I've learned that these are all great games, even if they're lighter. And I just like sitting down and playing. I will always, if I can play a game with Stacey versus playing a game solo, I will always play a game with Stacey if she's willing to sit down and play. We've got a game set up that we played yesterday that we're going to play a couple more times that I'm sure is going to be on both of our lists next month. When we do the showcase wall every month. I make sure that there's some games on her that she wants to play. Trying to get her to game a little bit more now that she's helping with this, the 5 and dime for every month, just to give her a little bit more variety of games to choose from. But there you have it. There is the 5 and dime for May 2024. This is where there's a wills, there's a play. If you like this video, please hit that like button down below. Leave us any comments. What do you think about these games? Have you played any of these games? What do you think about the games on our lists? Do you have family members who aren't as big a gamers and you want to ask us other suggestions for games they might like?
Or if you have a game that you want me to try out, let me know. I'll see if I can find it and play it, and let you know if I think it would be good for them before you introduce it to somebody else.
Yep. So this is where there's wills, there's a play. My name's Ian.
I'm Stacey.
We're signing off. See you at the table next time. Please hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content.